Hello everyone and welcome back to the ARP podcast with me, Aaron, and the one, the only, James.
Yeah, right, everyone, how's it going? So, we was meant to do it with the man, the myth, the blacksmith, the legend, GC, but George, but he obviously, he said yesterday he'd show up, but he's just done a no-show, basically, so that's
I'm
quite...
having to do this with two people instead.
Yeah, because Aaron did put up on Twitter, 3 people, and George said, yeah, I'll show up, don't worry, but he just couldn't set his alarm for 10 to 11, so, and it's now 11:35, so it's like, hopefully he can join halfway through, I guess, but who knows,
Yeah.
So, just to say this right, I'm not even making any sense, but we was meant to do the trending page on the one podcast, but what happened was, me and Scott was doing the reviews, and Scott doesn't really care for the trending page. And the one after that was about white collar boxing, so I don't think it would fit there. The trending page stuff would have fit, and the person I did it with doesn't know much about YouTube stuff. So yeah, let's look at the trending page then.
One thing I want to mention is I don't know how to properly say it, but have you realised on the trending page there just seems to be just so many videos that are just pointless?
Yeah, but I suppose it's just giving people a taste of the top YouTube videos. Obviously, if you have an interest, you're just going to look up the things that you're interested in. Most people aren't really bothered about the trending page unless they're really new to the platform.
I was going to say James Charles has started, well, not a TV show, but a YouTube original show. So will you be tuning into that, James?
Most definitely, 1,000,000%. I'll watch all of those for ages.
It's called Instant Influencer, by the way.
I'll binge them. Oh God, what an amazing title! Bloody hell, you don't get more creative than that. I'll binge watch them 1,000 times in this lockdown. No, so what the hell is that show even about anyway?
Well, I'm looking at episode 2 right now. It's about drag queens.
Oh.
So,
would that be something interesting to review, or do you think it would be a bit difficult? Not difficult to watch, but like a bit difficult to talk about, or?
I think it would be hard because, right, I don't want to come across weird, but personally, well, we all have our own sort of beliefs about different stuff and drag queens and whatever, but I just think that we wouldn't take it properly seriously.
Yeah, we'd probably be laughing. Well, not laughing, but we'd probably be somewhat amused and be like, what the hell is going on here? Come on. Like, obviously, there's nothing wrong with people dressing up as the opposite sex. That's their decision. Fair play to you. But, people, if you have a load of daft clothes on, people can have the right to, like, laugh a bit. And, yeah, as you say, we wouldn't be taking it serious, so...
Yeah, mainly because, obviously, it's something that we've never, ever looked at. So.
True. Well, mind you, there was that, what's his name, RuPaul. I saw that advertised. I swear, I think it was on Come Dine With Me. I watched this one episode, right, where this bloke said to this woman, no, they were saying, what celebrities do you all look like? What do we all look like? And there was this woman with this really big ego on there, and he said, you look a bit like RuPaul. And she was so offended, man. She was proper angry.
Oh.
Anyway, let's look at the trending page then. It's here, KSI, 18 hours ago. I'm guessing that's a bit of music. 2 million views in 18 hours.
Just want to say as well, have you realised KSI's recent music? He's trying to sound more... I don't want to say sound more African. He's trying to sound not like his usual self in his music.
No, I don't listen to his music.
I only heard it from somewhere, I think, and he's just trying to sing like an African person would.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway, next video. PE with Joe, Friday, 1st of May.
I think that's alright to help like children and stuff like get around, but I think he's injured himself, hasn't he? I saw it on the news or something.
How did he injure himself?
I think he's like damaged something in his hand, so obviously that explains the question mark thing going on.
Yeah. Videos I could not upload. Oh, hold on. Here it is. Instant Influencer.
There you are.
What is that for? In the thumbnail, it's this bloke with a massive, massive blonde wig. I don't even know what to say. I do not even know what to say. Viral pub quiz, that's quite banterous. Finding my lookalike Bazinga from the Sidemen. Official Frankenstein with Benedict Cumberbatch trailer, or whatever it is. Raphael and Full Pitta promo. Drake. Yeah, it's just songs now and just all the big wigs. Yeah, Jimmy Fallon, well done. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Drake.
I was going to say, once you get to a certain point on the trending page, you can pretty much just scroll down because it's all the same type of people.
Yeah, sadly. Well, that's enough for the trending page then. Let's get into some cheeky YouTube news.
Alright, so do you have any news that you want to mention?
No, nothing at all, to be honest.
Alright, I actually thought I had more than I actually do, so I only have one piece of news. It's a little bit big though, so...
Okay.
Alright, so I know I don't own a PS4 anymore, and I know that you don't... You don't own a PS4, do you, James, or do you?
We put it in the living room downstairs. I've given it to my sibling, mainly because I don't use it much. The problem is when I don't know if I've said it on the podcast before, but when I did get a PS4, I just got it to play the same games I did on Xbox, but with different people, and it was just really pointless. I should have got the exclusives, but that's my mistake. It's best to just get exclusives, you know, if you're going to get a different console.
Alright, so I guess this sort of applies to you, but as you said, you don't get the exclusives, do you? So
I didn't bother, no, sadly.
You've heard of The Last of Us, haven't you?
Of course I have, yeah.
And I'm guessing you've heard of The Last of Us 2.
Yeah.
Pretty much, what's happened recently is basically the entire plot got leaked for The Last of Us 2.
Oh, that's a shame.
And people looked at the plot and they've just realised that it's such a bad game.
Oh.
I don't want to get too political or into anything like that, but basically the entire plot is influenced by SJWs, and it's pushing some weird agenda in the game.
Okay.
So what Sony and Naughty Dog, people who helped made the game, they're basically flagging down channels who talk about it. Now, not channels like ours, channels who just talk about the plot, and also people who criticise it.
Mhm.
So so basically people are just realising that this game's really, really bad, yet Sony and Naughty Dog want people to still buy it, and I think they've pushed the date back again, or they've pushed the date back to a certain point and just claiming it's because of coronavirus, when in reality it's just because the game's pretty bad.
Mhm.
So what do you think about
that? I mean, if they're pushing, as I've said before, with films and all that and games, they should just focus on the characters. They shouldn't focus on pushing an agenda or making all these characters be there for the sake of it, you know.
Yeah.
Just my personal opinion.
I was gonna say, I just wanted to mention this as well. Do you remember, because the new James Bond movie is meant to come out in, was it April or something?
Can't remember, I think so though.
But obviously that's to push it back, and I just wanted to mention it was a very similar sort of timeline that's happened to that movie as what's happened to Last of Us, because they claimed that they had to move the date back. I think it's to like September or something, but it's basically because they're just having to reshoot it because the plot's that bad apparently.
Oh, that's a shame.
But yeah, that's literally the only YouTube news I got. There's some other weird stuff going on about. Well, I don't know anything really about this. That's why I didn't want to bring it up properly. But the stuff about someone suing someone on YouTube, I'm not too sure. I don't want to bring it up because I don't know too much about that at the moment.
Fair enough. Well, that's the YouTube news for this time. So, on to the next thing now. Recently, Aaron did this challenge that only lasted, it was meant to last for a week, but it only lasted for 2 days because his uni bombarded him with stuff. So, basically, the challenge was no technology whatsoever. And that is quite hard in this day and age because, you know, you got to think to yourself, all right, no social media. I can easily watch telly, go on my game, do some gaming, etc., etc. But no telly, no gaming, no nothing, no technology whatsoever. I suppose if the cinemas were open, you could go to the cinema to try to pass your time or whatever. But obviously, you need technology for the uni work. But yeah, how did 36 hours without technology go for you?
I was going to say, it does make it sound pretty pathetic, like 36 hours. But yeah, it was weird because obviously I wanted it to last a week. The only thing I did allow myself at the time was my MacBook, just so I could write uni stuff on.
Well, you've already failed then, Aaron. Sorry, end the
No,
podcast. See you guys.
Right, when I started, I said social media / YouTube.
I thought it was a no technology. Oh, okay.
No, well, I don't really watch TV anyways, but the only thing I allowed myself was my MacBook to write something on. Because obviously you can't write assessments by hand for uni anymore.
True, yeah.
So what I was doing was I was just having my MacBook and I was just like having some music in the background. But the thing is, when I was doing it, because honestly the first day was alright, it was completely fine. The second day though, yeah, it was fine as well. It was just annoying having to go back to it because of my university calling me back and people wanted to talk and stuff. But what I realised in that time was how much time people, well, how much stuff people put out there. Because when you just sat in your room, just like, I don't know, reading a book or listening to music or something, you think there's no one here. It's quite weird because at any point of the day you can go on your phone, open Snapchat and look at someone's life.
Yeah.
And then when you're in your house, it's like, oh, there's just me here. Whereas when your phone's with you, you feel like even though there's no one in the room with
people
you.
Because they're interacting with you and they're posting things and they're posting pictures and there's people commenting and there's videos of people and you feel like you're part of a conversation or an event or something.
I was going to say as well, in that time as well that I wasn't on social media, the only notifications I got were the alarm on my phone and a news story, the Apple News that pops up.
Yeah.
Those are the two notifications I got. So it just shows how much, how much time you can give to social media and especially YouTube. I know it's a bit hypocritical saying that, seeing as we're making a video right now, but yeah, it's just very, very weird when you sit down and realise I've spent 10 hours today watching videos, unless you're watching a 10-hour video.
Yeah. So did you feel a bit better after the challenge? I know you said you felt sort of like zoned out and a bit like you're on your own and it's just you today and it's nobody else. But
yeah, I thought it was all right actually. The thing as well, I know it sounds really stupid. Keep saying, oh, it's only 36 hours or whatever, but when I had to like reinstall, I think it was like Snapchat or stuff, I thought, oh, there's going to be like so many notifications so much is going to have happened. People are going to have moved abroad and stuff, and you're like, oh, nothing's happened.
Yeah.
It's just like you just feel like there's going to be stuff happening because you're not seeing it. So it's like if you don't see it, it doesn't exist. Whereas in reality, everything happens regardless of if you see it or not.
Yeah, yeah. I get what you mean. To be honest, it's like you think loads is going to happen. You think, oh shit, I'm going to have like 50,000 messages. Way, but it's just same old, same old. It's just the same social media as before. It's just nothing's really changed that much. Everything's the status quo, it's still the same.
Yeah. I mean, the only messages that I actually got that were left were probably by you, just sending me those voice messages.
Oh, okay.
That was about it. I mean, I just want to say I don't get tons and tons and tons of messages like most people do. But I guess if anyone went off, some people who go off Snapchat for like an hour and then they're considered like missing or something because they're not, not talking or something.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just absolutely insane. Like,
I mean, considered missing. Sometimes, if someone's been on social media regularly for ages and then they're suddenly just off, vanished, you might think to yourself, where are they? Where are they? Where are they? What's going on? But then you realise they could just be taking a break. You know, someone's not on social media for 2 weeks straight. You might worry about them a little bit, I guess. You know, you might expect like a text message or a WhatsApp, but if they're mostly not on social media, then more power to them. You know, as long as I guess they let you know that they're all right, you can just say, "I'm taking a big break from social media. I'll be back whenever." The problem is a lot of people like and that make this big announcement saying, "I'm giving up Facebook or Instagram or Twitter forever," and then they're like back within a few days. You know.
Yeah, it's like those celebrities who say that they're. I don't know any of them off the top of my head, but you always hear about it. Like this celebrity is giving up Instagram, and then I don't know, like a week later, they're spamming out stuff. But yeah, I was just thinking.
Yeah, I get you.
I thought it was a bit of lag then, but I was just thinking as well. That was it. I was gonna say as well. People who take a break from whatever, like social media or YouTube, whatever, and then when they come back, if they start acting the same, what's the point of taking a break?
Yeah, they try and change and make a big difference, but then they just come back and they're still acting the way they acted before, and they haven't really developed because of that break off social media.
Yeah, because as I said, it sounds stupid saying it's 36 hours at most, but since then I've tried not to go on like Instagram or Snapchat and stuff as much.
Mhm.
But yeah, I just.
I mean, no, you go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say what you call it? I was gonna say as well. With a lot of stuff you see online, it's a very edited view of someone's life, and it's mostly just like the best parts of their day. So
Yeah.
So don't take everything you see for like granted on social media.
Very true. I mean, as you say, it is just a little part of their day. It's nothing. It's not like they've got the best life ever. A lot of people show only the best parts of their lives on social media. But if their lives are that great, more power to them, fantastic. But you know, a lot of people. The thing is, if things are going truly good, why do you have to upload every single little thing to show that social media? It's like if it's not on social media, it never happened. But it's like, come on, you know, does it really? If you're truly having a good moment, you really need to put it on social media all the time and let everyone know how amazing that specific moment is. I feel like if you genuinely want to put stuff up for memories, I don't know, just send it to people on WhatsApp, your family, maybe a few close friends, or maybe upload really big things that you want to remember and look back on. But if you're constantly posting stuff every day, "Oh, my life's perfect," it's a little bit like, is it really though? Do you really need to tell everyone this? Come on.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird when.
Talking of.
Sorry, it's such a little bit. There's a
I
little
was
bit
going
of
to
lag.
say. Okay. I was going to say, talking of people giving up social media, there was this geezer called Jorge Masvidal in the UFC who went on this reality show where they have no phones, no contact with the outside world, and it said it really did him well and rejuvenated him. He did it for like 12 weeks or something, so 3 months with no phones or no contact or anything.
I mean, that does show a lot of dedication,
Crazy.
doesn't it?
Yeah, I think a lot of the people who did it only lasted 8 weeks, but he did the full 12 weeks and he came out better for it. And he's won every fight since, so you know.
So basically, give up social media and you'll win every fight. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, so he still does go on social media and do stuff now, obviously, but at the time he said it really rejuvenated him and helped him, you know. So yeah. Takes a lot of resilience because a lot of people, you got to realise, the more social medias you have, the more things you're going to be checking. You might check Instagram and think, oh, nothing's happening on Instagram. Let's look at Facebook. Yeah. Oh, let's go Messenger. Oh, yeah. Twitter. Oh, look at who said this on Twitter. Oh, hey. Oh, Snapchat. Oh, look at this person. Oh, hey. You know, and you and before you know it, an hour's passed just because you're checking loads of different things. So it's kind of worrying, really, that people have so many social medias and care so much about each social media.
Yeah, it's pretty mad as well when you think about it. Like, you might know a lot of details about someone's life who you don't even know in real life, just because they post that much.
Really trippy, isn't it?
I mean, there's some people who it's like celebrities and stuff when they post like every detail of their life, or like vloggers and stuff, and then someone stops them in the street and asks them how's their kid doing or something, or how did their football practice go. It's like, I think it hits them then that I am posting a lot of my own life for everyone to see, and everyone now knows what I do.
Yeah. The worst is when they get really upset about it though. Someone says, "Oh, how's this going? How's this going?" And then they're like, "Oh, how dare you ask me about this personal thing?" Well, you made this apparent to everyone. You told everyone this stuff. If people dug around and looked in your personal info, then I'd understand. But if you make something public for everyone to know and people are just checking up on you, you can't really blame anyone but yourself.
Yeah, because it's not like someone's going around filming. Well, obviously in like reality shows and stuff, that's what happens. But when people are doing it on their own, it's like it's their phone, it's their account. Like, just don't post it.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we can wrap up your social media. You know,
Yeah.
you're giving up social media for 36 hours up there. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is addiction. So, I'm pretty sure we were going to do this ages ago, but we just thought, now let's talk about something else. So, addiction's quite a bad thing, really. I always say everything's better in moderation. If you're addicted to something, it's no good for you. Even things that I promote, like exercise, running. Well, running is exercise, but yeah, any form of physical exercise. You know, having a release, like going on a video game or going to the pub a bit or going clubbing or any of that sort of malarkey. It's all good in moderation. If you're overdoing it in the gym, whatever sort of exercise you're doing, you're going to do yourself a hindrance and hurt yourself. If you're overdoing the drinking, you're going to end up really, really hurting your brain and destroying brain cells. You know, if you're going to the pub every day and drinking every day, you know. And if you have to do stuff if you really push yourself too far with anything, I feel like there must be some sort of problem in your life. You must be trying to run away from something. If you're going 100% in the gym and you're going absolutely mad and then you hurt yourself and you're going mad, creating loads of endorphins, and you're really trying to get away from some sort of problem and distract your mind, you might want to seek some sort of professional help or something. And same with drinking, to be honest. If you're drinking loads and loads and loads and you're going to the pub nearly every night, and if you're drinking nearly every day, you probably have a problem, and you know you really need to get something sorted out, to be honest, because doing stuff too much is just, I know it's obvious, but it's just not good for you at all, really.
Yeah, because I know that they say a lot of addictions are just there to make up for something that either someone doesn't have or something they've lost, or something like that.
Yeah, or some people want a buzz or a distraction. Let's take gaming for an example. People, especially online gaming, that's more prevalent than ever now. Like back in the day with the PS2 and the PS1 and all these offline games, and even online games back then, no one gave a care about how good you were. No one was really bothered, to be honest. People were just like, "Oh, let's play this for a bit of fun." Yeah, there's not many people on this online game, but who cares? Let's have a bit of fun. Well, hey, yeah. But now it's like competitive. Oh, this person's I'm really good at a game, so it creates I can't remember what it's called, but like when you do well at a game, it makes you want to play more, and you're sort of hypnotized to continue. So, say on Clash of Clans, if you destroy a base, you're like, man, I'm so glad I destroyed that base. But in the grand scheme of things, does it really matter? In the moment, I suppose it matters, and it's good to be somewhat invested in a game, I guess. But some people there's people out there on this game called Ark. There's this one geezer who I've got on my friends list who has spent 380 days. It says his play time is, and it's just absolute madness. And I think Ark's only been out for like 2.5 years on Xbox, and he's managed to somehow play over a year. I mean, that is terrifying, really, on one game. You know, it's even more weird when people are not just addicted to gaming, but they're addicted to one game. They're addicted to doing good. They're addicted to feeling like they're achieving something. Like if you and your mates are playing a game and you win one game and you're like, well, hey, yes. I mean, it's nice in the moment and it is good to play to win, I guess, but if you want to keep playing and you go on for like 7 hours and you're angry that you lose and you're so happy that you win, it's like You really should be only playing a few games, and if you lose, you'd be like, whatever. If you win, you can be like, way, you know.
Yeah, I was gonna say as well. The whole point of a game is sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Like, you know, you shouldn't always win because it makes it boring. You speaking about that Ark thing as well. I know this is completely random to bring up, but obviously I cover DSP on the channel. But the amount of money he spent on WWE champions, it's like Candy Crush.
It's a lot like that, is it?
Yeah.
Like points on extra lives or something.
I know that you don't know this because obviously, this is no offense to you, James. I know that you don't follow DSP. But he has spent over $50,000 on the game.
That is scary.
And it's a crappy mobile game.
Does he do this often then?
It's a bit hard to sort of summarise it all, but basically he obviously he plays games on Twitch for a living and YouTube, but this WWE Champions, it's what he does in his off time, and he doesn't tell anyone about, and people found out about it.
Oh, okay.
But I just wanted to use that as an example. Like, it's not only thing is though, you could spend $100,000 or whatever on a game, but the most important thing is like the time that people put into it. I think because like you can have like $100,000, but you can't buy, like, as you said, that person can't buy that year back that he spent on Ark or something.
Yeah, it's very, very. Time is such a valuable thing, man. I value time so much more than money, unless it's a short amount of time. Because I feel like when you're young, if you had a choice to do mad overtime to make more money for the future, or do an average day like 8 hours or 7, well, 8 hours is what the average adult does. 7 or 8 hours a day, or like 10 or 11 hours a day. I'd personally pick the 8 hours a day, especially when you don't need money and you're young, you know, when you just need a certain amount, you know.
Yeah.
I just feel like time is so valuable, and you shouldn't be throwing time away on video games. I mean, there's been people I've played with ages and ages ago who like really value skill in games, and it's kind of worrying, really. If like Rainbow Six Siege, which is a really skilled game, these people I was playing at, they'd get so annoyed if me or whoever lost, or if anyone was doing bad, or anyone got killed, or anyone did bad against these players who were way better. And I'm thinking, you really need to get a fucking life. Sorry, I did not mean to swear, but you really need to get a life if you're getting so obsessed over one game of Rainbow Six Siege. If you're like, no, how can you do this? No. It's like, you really need to get a life if you're obsessing one over a game. Your life has really little meaning if you're getting upset over a game of Rainbow Six Siege. I'm sorry, it is beyond pathetic. Grow up, serious. I mean, at the time, the people I was playing with, we was all like around 17, 18, so it's maybe in a few years those people have grown up. I don't know. There's other people I've played with who are obsessive over games, though. There's people who are like, oh, it's so simple to be good at games. How can you all not be good at this game? Right, well, maybe because we all have lives and we haven't just spent bloody 50-odd days on Rainbow Six Siege or bloody any of these crap games that you've wasted your life on. I mean, just because people choose to do other things doesn't mean that they're bad, or that they're valued less just because they've chosen to do other things, and they're not just wasting their life playing games, for goodness sake.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring this up as well. Just talking about money and stuff. I know obviously there's like esports and stuff, but that's sort of a different thing, really. And obviously you can obviously aim to be an esports player or whatever, but it's if you're playing stuff just with the intention of killing some time. Like, that's what we're sort of talking about.
I mean, all right then. Listen, if you've worked 8 hours a day, then you get home. You know, you want to graft competitively for like an hour and a half or 2 hours at this game, and just play competitive, and then you eventually want to become a great player, a part of a great team, and make loads of money. I mean, personally, I think a gaming career is quite a bad route to go down, because you're not really developing yourself as a person. You're not really around people. You're just sitting in front of a telly playing a game. But at the same time, you make loads of money. But as I say, at the same time, you're not developing much as a person, and you're just sort of stagnating in front of a telly and not doing much. You're just sort of waiting there playing a game, looking at a screen, and adding too much meaning to a game. Because at the end of the day, if you look at all these tournaments in the world, how many of them make mad money? I know a few of them, if you keep competing in these gaming tournaments, you can. But I just don't think it's worth wasting so much time on one certain game, or any games in that matter.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything to say unless you want to say anything on.
I just wanted to say this one last thing, right? Gaming, I know I mentioned it a bit earlier, but it was so much more simpler, man, in the PS2 time, because every game was just story based, really, and the stories were so fun, and the single players were so fun. And honestly, as much as online gaming was fun over the years, I do prefer campaigns, to be honest, because you just play that game, you get it done, and then it's over. You don't waste. It's fine to go on online sometimes, but there's people who are just addicted to it and just play it all the time. And there are good online games out there, but I personally prefer a good story game. Just chill out, complete the campaign. That's it. End of. Or maybe go back and do it once or twice, or do specific missions you enjoy. But personally, I'm not really a big fan of this online gaming thing anymore. It's okay. It's okay in moderation, but I prefer campaigns by miles, man.
Yeah.
So, the final thing we'll talk about then, the future. The future! You've got to save your money for the future, Roddy. No, but I don't know what that was all about. But yeah. So, what are your predictions for the human race in the future then?
Alright, I think short term, I honestly have no clue.
No.
Long term, I think there's going to be loads and loads of mistakes that are going to happen. But then, I don't know, maybe in 100 years or something, if we're all still here, life might be a bit better.
I mean, right now is quite a kick-ass time to be alive. Things aren't too advanced, so we don't become lazy, but there's still certain things that are primitive, so we can still have a laugh and enjoy ourselves, So, I don't know, like food, you can eat your food and really enjoy it, but in the future there might be some pill that fills up your stomach, that makes you totally fine. There might be things that make humans like more lazy, and like there might be robots doing everything for you, and I don't think that's a good way to live, unless you want to do other cool things with your time, I guess.
I was going to say though, when a lot of people think of like the future and stuff, they think of like Terminator or like the other end of the scale, like Futurama or something really random like that.
Yeah. I mean, most of the time in the media and the films and the telly, the future's predicted as the human race messes up and everything's crap and everything's absolutely dark and bleak and absolutely decimated. But apart from Futurama, where everything goes fine, and it's just banter.
Yeah. Sorry, I just thought of something then, but I shouldn't say it on here.
Oh, message it me. But, yeah. To be honest, in Futurama, everything is absolutely fine and everything's just absolute perfection. But a lot of depictions of the future, like Mad Max, that is set in the future, isn't it?
Yes. It's not too distant future, isn't it? That?
Yeah. Terminator, again, that's not too distant neither. And what's it called? Mind you though, Halo's predicted sort of a nice future for us. Halo seems like a really realistic future, apart from the Spartan stuff and fighting the aliens. I can see the space travel in the future being a lot like Halo ships, like the Halo starships.
Yeah, I mean, it is a bit weird when you think about where we get all the ideas of the future from, because most of it's just from films and stuff. And
true.
Maybe
I can't see the ships being like Star Wars ships. I really cannot see it being anything like that.
No, I just think it's going to get. It's basically just going to be like now, but things are just a bit different, a bit more easier.
I think space travel will be quite sick, to be honest. I think space travel will be class in the future. We haven't come a long way, really, especially compared to, I mean, NASA got on the moon in 1969. They sent a rocket up, and I don't think anyone's been to the moon since. So or one person might have been to the moon since, I don't know, but like I think it was because it was the big space race between America and Russia, and who can get in space first? Russia did. Who can get to the moon first? We did. We're here. But I feel like space travel will be something really cool. They're going to send people on a one-way mission to Mars in the future. What do you think about that? 2040.
Fair play to people who are going. But
pretty ballsy and scary, in my opinion.
I was going to say that they are setting up like an internet connection between planets, apparently, like by 2030 something.
I wonder how the bloody hell they're going to pull that off.
I think it's just loads and loads of satellites to be. Well, I'm obviously not an expert. I don't think any of us are or claiming to be.
Yeah.
But that'd be pretty mad. But yeah, I think I don't know. Maybe in our lifetimes, maybe I don't know how to explain it. Just maybe just like things that we have issues with now could start being resolved by the end of the century or something.
I mean, I hope so. It'd be nice if all the countries work together and put their own profits and gains aside, and try to make the world a better place. But I can't really see that happening. I can see it happening a little bit, but not to an extent that'll fix the world. Yeah, I feel like in the future some illnesses will be conquered, but there'll be new illnesses that come in that we'll have to find cures for. Electric cars, 2040.
Yeah, I think they're all right. Just I think it's a bit stupid trying to ban the sale of cars that run on petrol and stuff.
I hope they don't ban the sale totally, but I mean they in Birmingham they've banned 4-wheel drives, so crazy. So who knows? They might in the whole country might ban petrol cars or diesel cars, and we all just are forced to drive electric cars. I hope that doesn't happen. I really hope that doesn't happen.
I know this is a bit off topic, but I know that they said it's going to be the sale of new cars. So what's going to happen is all the petrol ones are just going to be pre-owned.
Oh, okay.
So like new car sales are going to drop to the floor. Pre-owned car sales are going to go to the roof.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that sort of what happens now? Though most people want pre-owned cars because new cars, they're not really built as well. A lot of them are just done on the cheap, and they look good, but the way they drive, and they've got all these nice features, but the way they drive, it's a load of crap, really.
Plus, you lose your money pretty much instantly.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like a lot of people are going for used cars, and I think they, as you say, they'll probably go for used cars in the future with instead of electric cars. I'll just all go for used cars. I mean, electric cars, they get quite fast straight away, but they can't really. I know it isn't about how fast the car is and what wins in a race, but I watched a video on CarWow, and the electric car overtook all the other cars straight away, but then the other cars overtook it in the end. Two of the faster cars. I can't remember what it was. I think it was an Audi and a BMW and a Tesla, and then some really fast Volkswagen or something.
I was going to say as well, I know this is about electric cars now, but thing is, the batteries that they use in the engines, the lithium ion ones, they're as bad as just using petrol. Plus because at the end the batteries only last every 5 years. They cost $5,000 to get rid of, and what are they going to do with all the toxic waste? Yeah, plus you've actually got to make them as well, which is going to cause more pollution and stuff.
So yeah, then that's just another big problem on our hands, to be honest.
Plus you got to think about where's the electric coming from? How's that being made? Fossil fuels.
Yeah.
So.
And to be honest, a lot of countries, I can't see them following these electric car rules, to be honest.
I mean, imagine places like Saudi Arabia. No offense if you are from Saudi Arabia, but imagine places like in the Middle East where they just rely on oil and sales of fossil fuels and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I can't see a lot of people complying with these rules, as I say. But who knows, eh? Who knows? The people might enjoy driving electric cars. Who knows?
Yeah.
What else about the future? Do you think sports will still be a big thing, or do you think people will focus more on like getting careers in realistic jobs than trying to go into sports? Or
alright, this is just my opinion, obviously. Personally, I think it's going to get to a point where there's going to be that much money involved. People are just lose interest, if that makes.
What do you mean? Oh, you think they'll keep raising the prices to buy things?
I mean, I know there's tons and tons of money in football right now, but I think the main reason people still like football and stuff is because of it was when they were a kid, like in the 80s and 90s and stuff. And then obviously their children who are like us now, some of us like football, but then as the generations go on, basically as more people come into the world and stuff, people are going to be less bothered because there's not that nostalgia there.
Well, I feel like a lot of people. I feel like it'll go on for a while because there's quite a lot of people in their 20s who love football, like mid to late 20s, and a few early 20s people. I feel like a lot of people from the ages of like 14 to 18 just do not care about football whatsoever. They're not bothered. But I feel like people a bit older, there's still some people bothered, but not many. I feel like most football people are probably like 26 to 70, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
And mostly blokes. So yeah, to be honest, football as an example, there is loads of money. I feel like they are way too overpaid, to be honest. An average player in the Premier League, I think they get like 35k a week or something ridiculous, which is madness, really. And a lot of them just piss it up the wall. It's insane. You think you give them 35k a week and you somehow piss it up all the wall when you're retired? Mental. I know they're good gambling, but you think they'd think to themselves, all right, if I'm a bit of a gambling addict, maybe let's gamble a K tonight. Let's save up a load of money to gamble with, and then save up a load of money in a different account that I don't gamble with, just for essentials. Just use it for essentials, you know.
I was going to say as well, have you seen the True Geordie's recent podcast?
We do.
Oh, I forgot who he was with. It's the kick-off one, actually.
I haven't seen it, no.
Basically, he was just talking about how Newcastle's going to be brought out by these people who are 10 times richer than the Man City owners.
Oh, bloody hell. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
That's a ridiculously good thing. They're going to have that much money.
Oh, cool. Why do you think they're buying Newcastle then?
Well, this is something taken from the True Geordie podcast, or to kick off. Basically, he just said it's because of where Newcastle is. In the north of England, that's one of the only big clubs that can stand on its own.
Oh, okay.
So it's got a good fan base. Everyone hates Mike Ashley, like the owner. And it just makes a lot of sense from a business point of view to invest in somewhere where people will support it regardless, as well as it's in a good location.
Yeah. I mean, fair enough, I guess. What about other sports then? Do you think people, because I feel like a lot of people are sort of scared to put themselves out there in situations where they come across as weak, or situations where they're taking a bit of risk, like MMA or boxing, for example. I feel like a lot of parents don't want to let their kids or practice this sort of thing because it's very risky. Do you think fighting will become extinct, and unless people find ways to replace brain cells, which I think they will in the future? But do you think fighting will sort of become extinct, or do you think it'll keep going on and on and
on? Personally, I think more sports like UFC and stuff will get bigger. I think.
Yeah. I think so as well, to be honest.
I think because mostly when people associate stuff with fighting, if you go back 10 years, they just associate that with like wrestling, like Vince McMahon jumping off a cage, something really stupid like that.
Yeah.
Whereas now you say fighting and you think, oh, that's UFC, and then you think of like all the technical aspects and stuff. So then in 10 years it might be like a new company might have been set up that rivals UFC or something.
I mean, the only rival to UFC, the real rival, is probably Bellator. The good thing about Bellator is that they do shows all over the gaff. I mean, I can't remember the last time UFC did a show in Birmingham. They did one in Liverpool, but that's because one of the time Darren Till, this guy from Liverpool who had a lot of hype behind him and he was winning quite a lot of fights, they did it there for him mainly. It's mostly UFC in London, really. That's mainly where they do it. But yeah, they do boxing all over the gaff, which is good. But boxing is quite an English sport, I feel like. But American, it's more MMA. MMA is more American, But boxing, it's been in England for ages. We've got a lot of English fighters. I know boxing's been quite big in America as well, you know. But America's a big place, so they're going to have a lot of stuff going on. But yeah, I think fighting, as you said, will get bigger, mainly because there's always people bringing new hype into it. I mean, originally, I know Brock Lesnar isn't really that good, but Brock Lesnar brought a lot of wrestling fans into the MMA scene. Michael Bisping brought a lot of English fans. Ronda Rousey, she was the first big woman to fight. You know, she was the first woman to fight in the UFC and go on a big run. She was a pioneer for women's MMA. You've got McGregor, who's just a master trash talker, who's backed up all his trash talk and done amazing. So I think MMA will continue. I mean, this one geezer said to me, I think he's just a bit butthurt that karate isn't that big anymore, to be honest, or like more meditating martial arts rather than realistic martial arts. But this one geezer said to me once, he said, I think because karate was big in the 70s with Bruce Lee, and then in the 80s it was a bit big, but then in the 90s MMA slowly came along, and Thai boxing and kickboxing and all that, and that sort of pushed karate out the window, and MMA has gradually become really big, but I feel like it will go extinct, and then karate will come back, and the more meditating martial arts. But I think that's a load of nonsense, to be honest. I remember saying, I think I said, like, it's quite big though, and MMA's been going really, really strong and has had a load of pay-per-view buys. I mean, there hasn't been any karate. There's been karate in the Olympics, but there's never been, you know, a karate bout or a karate show that has had millions of pay-per-view buys, has there ever? So if MMA went extinct, I could not see karate or any of these traditional martial arts making a comeback. I mean, to be honest, I'm trying to think, a lot of the fighting places nowadays, like combat places, there's some boxing gyms, there's like 2 karate places in the general area within probably a few miles radius, maybe 3 or 4, you know. But most of the gyms that I can think of in my area, boxing, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, MMA, and a few Thai boxing ones, and maybe 1 or 2 traditional kickboxing ones as well. A bit of Taekwondo and Judo, but mostly MMA, boxing, and Thai boxing. So I think in the future, these martial arts will just become bigger and bigger and bigger. MMA will just become bigger. I really hope parents don't stop their kids from doing this stuff. Obviously, I'd understand if you wouldn't want them to compete or do it as a career, but I feel like you can train. You should definitely be allowed to train and do self-defense. You shouldn't be stopping your kids doing that stuff. And also doing it as a career. I mean, if you're really passionate and you're 100% all in, do it, go for it. But if you're not 100% all in and you don't want to take, because it is a risk. I mean, you can do things to lower the risks, obviously. You can only fight for like 7 years. I mean, there's some people who just keep fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting. Then, you know, by the time they get to 50 or 60, they're going to end up not being able to do the things that they regularly do, not be able to do their daily functions. But if you retire young, if you retire at like 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, or if you fight quite smart and you don't get hit too much, you know, you might be all right. You'll probably be all right. So, but who knows? At the end of the day, the way I see it, because people worry about being in a bad way when they're old, that's why they wouldn't do it. First off, if you're worrying about that, you're not 100% passionate. But second off, that can happen to you anyway. Anything that you're worried about happening because of combat sports, that can happen to you anyway. So you should go for it. You should go for it if you want to go for it, you know. But if you're not 100% all in, don't go for it, because it's not worth it if you're not all in. So, yeah, that's the future of that sport. I mean, we could talk about other sports, but I'm just CBA. I suppose sports that are popular now, if they've got a young fan base, they'll do well. If it's an old fan base like football, I feel like football will still be a bit, you know, well known because people support teams and get really interested in their teams and just are insanely loyal to them. So I feel like there will still be quite a few people, because look at how big football is now. But I don't think that I think there is a good chance that it will eventually become unpopular.
Yeah.
Final question: where do you see yourself in 10 years? With 1 million subs.
Oh.
I'm trying to think of a few more questions.
I was gonna say, personally, I think I don't know in how many years, but I think that the cinema / movie industry is gonna just tank.
Yeah, because you know, which is such a shame. I really don't want it to, but I do think you're right there in some aspects, because Universal are just showing their films in homes now. All the Universal films are not going to be shown at any cinema. No, at Odeon cinemas apparently. I don't know about other cinemas, but apparently, or maybe all cinemas. I don't know. Yeah, I think it's all cinemas. I honestly can't remember. But something's happening with Universal, and it's because their home cinema thing has been so successful because of this lockdown, which is just a shame, really. I think, even though it's a bit annoying, because going to the cinema, I'm not trying to sound like a tight ass or anything, but you drive a bit, you waste a bit of fuel, you might buy a Mackey's, the tickets might be a bit of a rip-off, but you go out with your mates and you enjoy yourself. Taking that away is really gutting, to be honest. It's such a shame, you know. I mean, it's like why a lot of people don't go to the pubs anymore, because you can just buy a load of beers from a shop for like £1 and you basically sat back laughing, you've saved a load of money. But I feel like it's the social experience, you know, and going out and enjoying yourself and having a good time. And I feel like that's slowly going away more and more, sadly. So, yeah, I agree that the cinemas might go out, become extinct. I don't want them to, but I feel like they might.
Yeah, because I was thinking about it with stuff like Netflix and shows like that. A lot of movies are just going to go straight to Netflix and stuff, and also as well, there's that many movies that are just pumped out that are just terrible.
Yeah.
I saw this thing recently about I forgot what channel did it, but basically said, have you noticed that for a few years the same movie studios pumped out the same movies twice in 1 year?
Weird.
So it was, I forgot what examples they used. It's like is it A Bug's Life and Ants? Yeah, stuff like that. And
but those films are half decent, to be honest.
No, I meant just like the plots are effectively the same. It's just two different studios who.
It was because Disney and DreamWorks are a bit angry at each other or something.
Yeah, I mean, but there's actual like the same studio. I forgot all the examples. But there's some, and it's literally the exact same plot. It's just like a different time period.
Okay. Hold on, Aaron. George has just messaged me. I'm going to tell him join the call.
I was going to say it's going to end in a second anyway.
I know it's going to end, but I want to ask him a few questions about the future. I'm going to message him. Don't edit this out.
We're all live. We'll do it live. You don't know what that's off, do you, James?
No. What show is it off?
Oh, it's just this news reporter who this feels so weird. It's going to be in the podcast, but he just says basically his teleprompter goes down and goes, well, "I'll do it live."
That's weird.
I think we need to get you some meme education. Although not meme education.
I need to be more cultured, to be honest. Come on, George, join. Don't let us down. Come on, man. Come on, George. Come on, join the call. No, all right. I'll try and drag this out a little bit longer then.
I was going to say my legs have properly gone to sleep now. So.
What's so bad about your chair? I know this is random, but what's so bad about your chair that makes you?
It's a dining room chair.
Oh!
So
why don't you buy yourself a normal chair, man? What are you doing with that uni loan, bro? Come on.
I just don't. Yeah, I don't know why. I've had this for ages.
Bro, get a normal chair. What are you doing with a dining room chair in your bloody room? With that uni loan, man, you're loaded to the gill. I don't know what you're playing.
No, I'm not. Nah.
Are you sure?
Well, no,
yes, George!
Jeez. If you're wearing headphones, I do apologise.
Thank goodness. George, what are you doing, man? It took you like 20 years to show up.
The phone hasn't been turning on for some reason.
Oh, so you were up like before 11, but your phone wasn't working?
Yeah, I've been up since about 10.
Oh, bloody hell, man. That's so unlucky.
I know.
Just saying, George, we are recording, so
yeah,
everything you say is going in.
Right then, earlier on in the podcast, I did say, I don't know why I thought that you were just lying in, George. Because I was saying, I don't know why George couldn't set his alarm, so I regret saying that. I'm very sorry. I thought you weren't up. I regret.
No, I set my alarm and I did catch it, so.
I'm very sorry about saying that. Then I didn't realise, mate.
Fine, mate.
But yeah, talking about the future at the moment. So, a few questions for you, George. Do you think that humanity will last for ages and ages? Do you think we can make it and last for thousands and hundreds of thousands of years, or not?
Well, we could, but like, there can be some natural disasters that could happen. Like, there's a super volcano in America, which is hundreds of years overdue for an eruption, which could basically destroy the Earth.
Yeah. I mean, there is that one, isn't it? Yeah, in America, and it will destroy most of America. And depending on which way it blows, it will either destroy England and Europe or Asia.
Yeah.
Way the smog blows, because the smog will just choke everyone out and they'll die, apparently.
Yeah, but plus it will cover the sun as well.
It'll what?
It will cover the sun.
Oh, yeah, and it'll make acid rain as well, which sucks.
That's such a weird way to say acid rain. Oh yeah, it sucks.
Yeah. So it wouldn't be too good if that happened. Apparently, it's something like it's 700,000 in one that'll happen. So the way I see it, it's going to happen, but it's very, very low odds. It's like getting a.
Yeah.
I'm going to look at what are the odds of getting a royal flush. Do you think there'll be a World War III, George?
Well, there could be.
Who do you reckon it'll be between? I reckon America and Russia will get really annoyed at each other and they'll go at it.
Well, they seem to be on good terms.
They are at the moment, yeah. But I mean,
at the moment.
At the future, you don't know what the future will bring. I'm not saying in 10, 20 years. I mean, like in hundreds of years, because they're the two most like powerful countries. You just don't know what's going to happen.
Yes, you're definitely right.
So, yeah, personally though, as you say, it could be a natural disaster. I mean, you never know. We could get sucked into a massive black hole. You know.
Yeah.
A humongous black hole could just engulf the Earth, you know. Apparently,
Yeah, right.
a black hole inside the Earth, it compresses everything down to the size of a coin in a second.
It's quite scary when you think about it, really. What could happen to us?
Yeah. The odds of getting a royal flush are 649,739 to 1. So, and I've got a royal flush before. So this volcano could go off and destroy the world. You don't know. I mean, imagine if a meteor that killed the dinosaurs just hit the Earth now. How much of a shame would that be?
Or did have a close call a couple of times, you know.
When was this?
Oh, a couple of years back now, but it just skimmed the Earth.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you make of this, Aaron? I've never heard about this.
I know that there's always asteroids getting very, very close to the Earth, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess. Well, obviously now we have stuff to stop it, don't we? Like satellites and NASA and stuff. But it's just weird when you think about for like hundreds of thousands of years, we were very at least 10,000 years. We were very lucky, and one didn't hit.
Yeah, very. I mean, who knows what the future holds? Have you got any things you want to say about the future? Any predictions, George? Before I give a closing statement.
Not really, no.
You should. Okay, then. All I'll say right now is that the most important time is now. Focus on the now. Don't dwell too much in the past. Focus on the now. Plan for the future. Think about the past a bit. Learn from mistakes. Remember the good times. But try your best to focus on the now and always keep moving forward. Try and look forward to the future and think of good ideas. But also take actions and improve yourselves in the present day and the present moments. So, yeah.
Oh, cheeky round of applause from James.
Yeah, a round of applause for myself because I've got a massive ego. But yeah. Anything you guys want to say then?
No, all I'm saying is I'm going to do this till I get to 1 million. Thank you very much. No, I'm joking.
Good. No. But I'm glad George was able to show up for the last 10 minutes, you know, because Aaron did put on Twitter there'll be 3 of us, and we finally got a podcast with us 3 in it, even though it's only been for 5 minutes. Who cares? Good banter.
Well, we could always do another one, couldn't we?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but it's just hard to find topics that all 3 of us know about. But I guess we can think of something, and it's hard to get all 3 of us available on the same day. But you know, it is what it is, isn't it? So thanks for watching, and see you all in the next one.
Right, see you all in the next one.
See you later, guys.